Hello, everyone. It's Pam Esquire, also known as your law intellect. And today we are going to discuss Jussie Smollett. How did this case even get reopened? Well, that's going to be our topic today. So if you haven't done so already, please subscribe, please like, please share. Let everyone know that the law intellect is on. Let's get to it. So, like many of you, a few days ago, we spent probably over 5 hours trying to hear the fate of Jussie Smollett. As you recall, Jussie Smollett was convicted of 5 counts of disorderly conduct for filing a false police report. Now, after the 5 hours were up, and after the judge gave his long speech on what he felt about the case and what he felt about Jussie Smollett, I mean, even called him a liar, like to his face, said that he has been the butt of every joke. He is the adverb of what a lie is. Said, yes, sir, you had the ability to testify on the stand, but maybe you should not have because you clearly perjured yourself. And then he brought down the hammer. He said, what you're going to do is do 30 months of probation. So everybody was like, oh, okay. He's going to get probation. They said, you're going to pay restitution and fine. So you're going to pay that 120 something thousand odd dollars that the Chicago police put in time and work and investigating your case. You're going to give that back. But then he said, well, the statute also allows a $25,000 fine. So guess what, Jussie? You're going to pay that too. But then he said, you're going to do 5 months in the county jail. I think that's what made everyone fall out when they heard that. I honestly cannot say that I was shocked. The way the progress of this case went, I was like, yeah, he's going to get some jail time. So I wasn't shocked, but many of my peers and people around me tend to seem as if they were shocked. Being a person that has done criminal law, I was pretty much expecting he was going to do some time. It was a matter of how much. But anyway, what I wanted to do was go back to this judge when he was giving his sentence out. He gave background about Mr. Smollett and he gave all this information. But what I thought was very interesting was, how did this case get reopened? Because if you recall, when this case first came out and everyone was on Jussie's side and everyone was like, oh my goodness, we can't believe this happened to him, this Empire star. But then when they found out that it was a hoax and they brought these charges, at that time it was 16 charges that were brought against him for this alleged hoax of a hate crime. When this occurred, suddenly all the charges were dropped. And he had this sweetheart deal, which was where his record would be expunged. He did community service, the records would be sealed. He just had to forfeit his $10,000 that he paid for bond. That was pretty much what it was. Now, after that, it appears Jussie still went around and said, I didn't do anything. I know what it looks like, guys. I know what the evidence says, but I did not do anything. And he was very adamant about this. So this stayed in the news, and people didn't know how to feel, kind of had mixed feelings about it. But it was like, well, why did these charges get dropped? Then, just as fast as the charges got dropped, breaking news, the charges were being refiled. We're like, what happened? Well, it turns out, and if you paid attention to the judge, he gave us a little background on how these charges got reinstated. And what he said was, on April 5th of 2019, there's a former appellate judge named SheilaO'Brien. SheilaO'Brien is not on the bench currently. She is retired. But She filed a petition with the court and basically said, this has grieved me. How this case was handled has grieved me, and I want justice to prevail. So there is a statute. Let me see if I can find that statute for you. Um, Here we are. There is a statute in Illinois that basically says the court on its own motion or an interested person in a cause or proceeding, civil or criminal, may file a petition alleging that the state's attorney is sick, absent, or unable to fulfill his or her duties. This court shall consider the petition and any documents filed in response, and if necessary, grant a hearing to determine whether the state's attorney is sick, absent, or otherwise unable to fulfill his or her duties. If the court finds that the state's attorney is sick, absent, or otherwise unable to fulfill his or her duties, the court may appoint some competent attorney to prosecute or defend the cause or proceeding. And then if you go down further to A-15, notwithstanding the subsections of this section, the state's attorney may file a petition to recuse himself or herself from a cause or proceeding for any other reason he or she deems appropriate, and the court shall appoint a special prosecutor as provided in this section. So, let me tell you what Miss O'Brien did. I'm going to show you her petition. This is what got all of this Jussie Smollett case reopened. This statute that I just showed you that allowed a, quote, interested party to bring a petition when they feel like the state's attorney somehow cannot fulfill their duty. So what's alleged is that Miss Fox, who is the state's attorney, there was a conflict of interest. There were some allegations that she knew Jussie Smollett's family. There were some text messages where there was a request that the Chicago Police Department be taken off of this case because they felt like they weren't getting a fair investigation, because there were leaks. Remember, we had the superintendent was on Good Morning America. He did his press runs. So the family knew, or maybe a friend of the family, someone knew the state's attorney, Miss Fox. And they texted her and said, hey, can you help us out? So what Miss Fox did was, once people realized that there were text messages that came out, she on her own volition stepped down. But then she she replaced herself with another assistant prosecutor to take over this case. Okay. So she did not formally file anything with the court as you're supposed to, according to the statute. What she did was she said, okay, well, just to take away the look of any impropriety, what I am going to do is I'm going to step down and I'm going to appoint somebody myself. So that's pretty much what she did. And whoever she appointed came up with this sweetheart deal that Jussie Smollett got, where all the charges were dismissed and all of that we discussed earlier. So let's try to look at the petition that Miss SheilaO'Brien, former appellate judge, what she actually told the court of why she felt like this case should be re-looked at by a special prosecutor. So, what Ms. O'Brien said in her petition was, she starts out and she says, this petition asks for the instanter application, and she has all of the citations to the investigation and prosecution of the people of the state of Illinois versus Jussie Smollett, filed in the Circuit Court of Cook County. She says the statute is clear on its face, not subject to interpretation, and requires the court to appoint a special prosecutor, whereas here the state's attorney is unable to fulfill her duties, has an actual conflict of interest, or has recused herself. So she gave a few reasons why she feels like a special prosecutor should be appointed in this case, okay? And then she goes further to give her background information. She attaches her bio of all these great things that she's done, and she's so smart and went to all these great schools. But if you go down, let's go to paragraph 2. She says, petitioner is in, quote, interested party pursuant to 55 Illinois ILCS 5-3-9008. Petitioner has been associated with the Illinois justice system for her entire career, and her personal reputation as a member of that system is being harmed and questioned based upon the facts pled in this petition. So she's saying, as a member of the judicial community, the legal community, this is harming her reputation by how this is being handled. This is what she's saying anyway. Paragraph 3, she says, petitioner has been questioned by people across the country about the Illinois justice system with derogatory labels about the Illinois courts, judges, prosecutors, and personnel. I'm just saying, this is just my opinion, that this case did not bring any more bad light than what has already been on in Illinois' police department, their judicial system. We've always heard horrible things that have gone on, or even negative type of connotations when it comes to the system. But okay, all right, this is what she's saying, that all of a sudden, because of this specific case, people are questioning the integrity of the Illinois judicial system that she feels she's a part of. So, petitioner has been harmed by these words, and her ability to live peaceful has been diminished. Petitioner is an active member of her community and has witnessed this case and its handling as a consistent and upsetting topic of concern for the people of Cook County. Petitioner is concerned that without a special prosecutor, that the public perception of Cook County and Chicago will be harmed, bringing harm to all the residents of Cook County. Petitioner and all residents of Chicago and Cook County and our justice system have been subject to ridicule and disparaging comments in the media and have been the subject of comedy routines on national television, all to our detriment. Petitioner is not seeking any public office and has no intention to seek another public office during her lifetime. Petitioner has no agenda in this proceeding, other than seeking the truth and restoring public confidence in the Cook County State's Attorney's Office and the Circuit Court of Cook County. Petitioner was licensed to practice law in the state of Illinois in 1980 and in the state of Missouri in 81. Upon her retirement in 2011, petitioner moved those licenses to the status of, quote, retired. Petitioner has done some sporadic consulting during retirement. Let's move this down some. Sorry about that, guys. Petitioner has drafted, typed, filed, copied, and will serve this petition herself and is not represented by any law firm. So she was what we call pro se. She didn't hire anyone to represent her in this matter. Nor has she been assisted by any group. Petitioner apologies for any typos or errors in formatting. So she's saying, oh, I did this all on my own. I didn't have any assistance. So if we have any issues with typos, then I apologize to this honorable court. Petitioner will not seek outside the courtroom. I'm sorry, petitioner will not speak outside the courtroom of Cook County about this petition while this case is pending. Everything petitioner will do concerning this petition will be in open court for all to see, hear, and witness. Petitioner does not know Kim Foxx, the state's attorney of Cook County, and has no vendetta against her or the state's attorney office. Petitioner does not know Jussie Smollett, had never heard of him or his television show until this case was reported in the news media, and has no vendetta against Jussie Smollett. Petitioner knows Patricia Holmes as an attorney and has worked with her in the past, has no vendetta against Patricia Holmes, and respects her ability to be an attorney. Sorry, her ability as an attorney. Petitioner has not consulted with any of these people concerning this case or this petition. Okay. So when Ms. O'Brien, she's basically saying that somehow she was harmed as being a part or officer of the court and people making a mockery of the system. So this is her reasons why she brought this petition, which she is allowed to do under the statute. And then she goes on to give all these excerpts from the media and how it's being portrayed. She has dates from January 22nd of 19, 29th, 30th of 19, February 14th, February 15th, February 16th, February 19th, February 25th, March 8th, March 13th. She has a whole list of all of these different news articles and what they were saying about this case and how this case was handled. Okay, so this is how this case got brought back up. So, of course, even though she says that Kim Foxx wouldn't oppose to this because she was open to a independent investigation, that obviously was not true because Kim Foxx responded to this petition. So what Kim Foxx responded to, first of all, the petition got transferred to Judge Tooman. So when this judge kept talking about a Judge Tooman, this is who he was talking about, that this petition that opened up this case, that's where it came from. So not the special prosecutor. So Kim Foxx responded and she said, well, Ms. O'Brien, you're not an interested party. You're an observer. Also said that she did do an independent investigation because she moved it over to the office of the Inspector General, I believe. And they did their own independent investigation. So what you're doing is cumulative. She also says she didn't formally recuse herself. So this statute doesn't even apply. Then we got Jussie's attorneys, and they responded, and of course they objected to this petition as well. And they said she didn't have standing. Again, she said you're not even a proper person to bring this. This case is closed. You can only use this petition when the case is pending, and it's no longer pending. So sad. Sorry, it's not going to work. Well, Judge Tooman didn't agree with none of them because he held a hearing. And Ms. O'Brien was able to bring her case in front of the judge along with the state. They brought their case in front of the judge. And the outcome was what we have here today. A special prosecutor was appointed. But the judge's reasoning for doing a special prosecutor was very, very interesting. He said he believed that Ms. O'Brien did have standing, that she is an interested party under the statute. There's nothing that really prohibits her from bringing it. Now, what he did not believe is that he did not agree with her on a few of her reasons of why a special prosecutor should reopen this case and reinvestigate this case. But what he did agree with her is that even though Ms. Foxx tried to say she didn't formally recuse herself, she really did recuse herself. And that what she did was try to do a backdoor way of stepping down on her own so that a special prosecutor would not come in, which means that she can hire who she wants to, and then she can still be hands-on with the case. So the judge said you did some creative lawyering, which was outside the statute. But what you did, ma'am, according to a letter, is you did recuse yourself. And once you recuse yourself, according to the statute, a special prosecutor is mandatory, is supposed to come in. So basically, everything that you've done as far as this deal before with Jussie Smollett is null and void, because you didn't even have the right to even make this decision. And then he did a list of cases and basically said it's similar to an unlicensed attorney representing someone, and then say an unlicensed prosecutor coming in and giving a deal. Well, your deal doesn't matter because you weren't licensed to practice. So that's how everything occurred, and it became null and void. And a special prosecutor was entered in. He investigated the state's attorney office. He said they didn't do anything criminal, but what they did was an abuse of discretion, how she handled it. Then also said, yeah, I do believe that Jussie Smollett, looking at these, there are some crimes he obviously committed of disorderly conduct and filing a false police report. So I'm going to bring this in front of a jury. Now, this time when it was brought in front of a grand jury, they brought back an indictment for 6 counts. And as we know, he was convicted of 5. So this is how we got where we are. And guys, I'm not going to lie, I have so many mixed feelings on this case. First, I'm interested why a former appellate judge, and I know she went on and on about how she has no ill will against anybody and she doesn't know who these people are. You know, she doesn't know any of these people. She doesn't, you know, have an issue with Kim Foxx. But ma'am, you're retired. Like, why? There's so many things going on in Chicago that you could really be putting your feet to the ground. If you're willing to write this long petition and go hard over Jussie Smollett, you could go hard over a whole lot of other issues. So that was a bit concerning and a little weird to me. But apparently she was within her right under the statute to question whether the state's attorney's recusal, along with other reasons, according to her, that she should not have been even on this case anymore. And so that it should be reopened. She said she did it for the integrity of the system, but I don't know, because even when Jussie Smollett's team, his original attorneys, they're from California. So when they responded, Miss O'Brien was like, we don't really care what you have to say. You don't have a bar number in Illinois. And I don't see anywhere, I don't see in any of these documents where you've been allowed to come in pro hoc VJ or any other way. So therefore, your petition doesn't matter. We shouldn't even think about your petition, because your petition, you know, it doesn't matter because you're not even able to practice here. So she was like fighting. She filed a few motions until the judge finally said, okay, Miss O'Brien, we totally appreciate you. We appreciate all that you've done and this petition you filed, but you don't have standing anymore. You can sit down. Like, we got this from here. You need to stop filing all these motions or whatever. So, but I mean, and I want to know, Miss O'Brien, did you try to change this mockery of a system while you were in the system as a judge? Like, there was things you could have spoke out about, I'm sure, while you were on the bench. Things haven't changed that much. So there's just a lot of questions about her reasons for opening this case. Now, I know a lot of people are like so upset with this time that he got, but I just was not surprised. To this date, he's still denying, regardless to all the evidence. We obviously know all the judges, the 2 judges, Tooman and the one that did the sentencing and was over the trial, they all believed, based on their opinions that I've read, they all believe that he did it. So it's like, you won't apologize, you won't acknowledge it, you keep standing by that you're innocent, like he left out, I'm innocent, you know, he's still sticking by that. and he's not taking any accountability. And he decided to go to trial. He rolled the dice. You rolled the dice and he lost. Like, the jury didn't believe him. And then, according to the judge, and I don't know how true it is, I didn't hear his testimony, but according to the judge, he said, "Sir, you even perjured yourself on the stand. And because you perjured yourself on the stand, like, it's almost like he was so flabbergasted at how this was going on." Then he said the defense, they're just filing motion after motion. Now, I can say those attorneys went hard in the paint for Jussie Smollett. Like, he got all of his money's worth, because they're still fighting. Even after all this happened, they were still fighting. Like, no, this isn't fair that he's even in protective custody, because he's going to be away from everybody. I mean, they were trying to file that appeal while they were still in court. As soon as the judge gave them jail time, they were on their laptop trying to e-file that doggone appeal. Okay, his attorneys went swinging, and they're still swinging for their client. But I think when you look at the totality of the circumstances with Jussie Smollett, I mean, just him going on interviews, going on all these different shows and different videos of his shows, just the behavior. Then you went to trial. Then the judge is saying that you perjured yourself. We cannot compare that to people who plea out, acknowledge and admit what they've done. So because they've done that, the court gives them some form of a leniency. It's not the same thing. So any attorneys that's making it as if this is just so unprecedented, I just don't see it that way. Not in my experience when I did criminal, I just don't see it that way. There's the way, when you look at, like I said, the totality of the circumstances, it just appeared that he was going to get some time just based off of how this was going. But that's just my opinion. I want to hear your opinion. So what I want you to do is I want you to go into the comments. I want you to let me know how you feel. I want you to like, I want you to share, and I want you to let everybody know that we're talking about Jussie Smollett. So hopefully this cleared up some of the questions that you had regarding this case, because I was a little confused when the judge mentioned this Miss O'Neill and how she was just couldn't sleep at night. I think he said she couldn't sleep at night when she seen what the decision was. I'm like, ma'am, like, what about this case made you not want to sleep at night? So it made me dig a little bit more and look and see like what her petition actually was. So there you have it, folks. This is the actual petition that was filed that we went over today. And now we know why things happen the way that they happen. Again, my name is Pam Esquire, and I am your law intellect. And until next time, I'll talk at you later.